UKLC is presented by Curry's PC World.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the UKLC week number 3. Where has the time gone? Brought to you by Curry's PC World Gaming. My name is HitBrain, and I am joined by Jamada, and to all of our friends watching us on BBC iPlayer and BBC Sport, hello, and welcome to the show. Jamada, how are you doing, mate? You all right?
Yeah, I'm doing good. We obviously had the NLC during the week, so I didn't actually get much rest, but not, compared to you, working all day is workhorse, but yeah, feeling pretty good.
Yeah, I'm really excited to get back into it. I think if we have a little look back on what went down last week on the UKLC, we had some wins, we had some losses. My key takeaway was the meta, for at least in the UKLC, is incredibly dull at the moment. And I don't think that's really the meta's fault. I think a lot of our teams don't know how to play from behind. And we had a lot of extended games where not a lot happened, and then like one explosive team fight would just decide the game. And most of the time, it was heavily won by the team that just would accrue a gold lead by taking objectives, and the other team playing way too passively.
Yeah, and I mean, you could even go the opposite route and say some of the teams with a lead didn't actually know how to press their lead even further, which is why, I mean, we have highlights on our screen, right? But honestly, doing a bit of justice to the overall pace that we had last weekend. So yeah, it will be interesting to see going into this week how fast the games actually are paced. I feel like we had a couple of mismatches last week, which maybe set our expectations to think, okay, we could actually have longer, shorter games, but they just ended up being really long. Today, I feel like we've got a lot of games where the teams are relatively even matched, or at the very least by standings, they're only one win apart. So we should have, faster paced games than last week.
And you look at last week on the NLC, which is for anyone who isn't entirely informed of what's happening. The UKLC is a feeder league into the NLC, which is our main league. We had some very fast games over there, and that was the teams that showed us the ability to get ahead and then close out their games. So that's what I really want to see. We're now into week 3. The teams should start to feel a little bit more comfortable with each other. They had 2 weeks of play. They've had a lot of games under their belt, some scrims and stuff. I want to see, especially from teams like Resolve and Nvision, our top teams, I want to see them show us that they can actually close a game out when they're ahead and not just sit back on their laurels for 30 minutes and then just close out because their team scaled. That's what I'm trying to avoid. That's what I think I would like to see a little bit more of. So it's really on our top teams to show us that they know what to do. And for our teams at the bottom, our teams who are, in a slightly less commanding position, I feel like sitting back and just letting the other team roll you isn't the way to do it. So bring out something. Maybe don't play towards the meta. Maybe play something a bit more explosive and a bit almost, I don't want to use the term coin flippy, but use something which can, catch your opponents off guard and then try and get ahead that way. Because I think sitting back and letting the other team dictate the pace is just not going to win you a game. And yes, last week it showed us that entirely. Let's have a little look at our scoreboard and see how everything is going into today. So Resolve sitting at the top, then it is Nvision and Bulldog all tied at 3-1. London and M&M are tied, and then Barrage and Enclave tied, and at the bottom of the barrel, unfortunately, is Demise. Now, this scoreboard is very important because if we bring up today's matches, we can see that we got quite a few important matches coming up today. A few of these teams who are pretty close to each other or tied are going up. Crucially, our first 2 games of the day, Resolve versus Nvision and London versus M&M. These 2 games are going to be really exciting. Then later we will have Enclave versus Bulldog, and it's Barrage versus Demise. Barrage 1-3 and Demise 0-4. So another game which is important for the teams at the bottom of the scoreboard.
Yeah, I agree. And especially looking towards Demise in particular, obviously, not getting a win 2 weeks in, I'm not going to say it can feel bad. It does feel bad.
Yeah.
And Barrage in general haven't looked great. They obviously picked up their first win off of the back of some pretty nutty Aatrox healing in some of those later team fights. I forget which team it was against. However, generally speaking, Barrage haven't looked great. So honestly, this is an opportunity for Demise to at least try and pick up a win. Because if not, I think moving forward, things really start to get a little bit tricky. Just in general, the top half of the teams, I mean, even, we have all the way down to about 5th place, M&M London, they still look pretty good. And in most cases, you would peg them to actually beat out Demise in most best of ones.
Yeah, absolutely. We do have on the side of Demise, Hanke coming in the jungle role as the sub. So we'll see how that kind of shakes things up for Demise. And at the beginning of the split, we looked at Demise and we went, okay, maybe not the best team in the league, but it's seriously like not a bad team at all. This team looks like someone with the likes of Rifty in the top lane. We thought, you know, these guys could at least make top 4, maybe contest that top 3. And it's so far it's been disappointing from the likes of Rifty, obviously getting solo killed by Hachi in week 1 on the Aatrox multiple times, and since then it just hasn't really been the Rifty performance we want. So I think today's going to be very much like a, can Demise finally show us the Demise we are expecting, or are they still in Trouble Town? That's really the question for me. Let's bring up our predictions because we've got a little bit more time before we get going with today. So let's have a look at where me and you are predicting. I think this is probably the most diverse predictions we've had between me and you. We've been relatively in agreement on the game. So talk me through your predictions.
Yeah, so I mean, I think Resolve should still be able to take out Nvision. I think actually we saw some great team development from Nvision last week, actually seeing them pull out a team composition that wasn't just based around get Spark ahead, make sure he's on a hype carry, give him all the gold. We actually saw some more action coming from BB Muffin and Akers on very high skill cap champions. However, Resolve, honestly, they're looking like the best team in the league. They've really cleaned up a lot of their gameplay aspects in terms of macro, neutral objective control, all the good stuff. Further down, Eminem, I think, should be able to take down London, not because, you know, what you would assume the reasons I would give Eminem the win. But honestly, London got really creative in their game versus Demise, so I think it's still going to be a close matchup. But I think Eminem's scrappiness should still be the deciding factor. And Demise, well, I'm just throwing them a bone. I feel like Barrage may slip up, and this could be Demise's first win of the split. We'll have to see, though, because Barrage, maybe they carry on the momentum from last week.
Yeah, we're both in agreement on the Bulldog. Bulldog only dropped to game 2 Resolve, right? Was it Resolve they lost to? Or Nvision?
Oh, wait, no, it was Nvision.
It was Nvision, yeah. So they've only dropped a game to one of the top 2 teams, and versus everyone else, they have looked commanding. About that London Eminem game, I do agree that I think as far as team fighting go, Eminem are definitely the better team fighters. I think everything else, though, London have the capability to get around to those team fights in a slightly better position. Hence why I voted for London in that one. Although I do think we're in for a very scrappy game because Eminem love to team fight, and I'm really hoping London also are going to want a team fight. But let's have a little look at our first game of the day. This is going to be Nvision versus Resolve. So we both went for Resolve. This game is a fairly close one in the standings, and I've been predicting Nvision for most of the games they've been playing, but in this one, it's going to be such an exciting game. Chimera versus BB Muffin, Spark versus Yusa, Akers versus Artorias. I mean, I could read off all of the matchups, and everyone is exciting.
Yeah, you really can just read down the list and say, man, this is a matchup that, you know, if we had preview, I would maybe want to sit down and watch. So I think, like you say, Resolve definitely still the favors. I think they've progressively gotten better. You know, game by game and week by week, but maybe Nvision actually bring some of that sort of split push style that we saw in their win last week versus London, because it could definitely be something that questions Resolve a little bit, because I feel like most of the teams playing into Resolve have played relatively standard team fight compositions. We haven't really seen much 1-3-1 brought out on the UKLC. It's typically quite rare, so I think draft is going to be a very interesting point to look at to see whether Nvision feel like they can challenge Resolve on the sidelines.
Yeah, that's what I want to talk about is, you know, what are the win conditions for these teams and how have they been playing over the last couple of weeks? Are there similar styles? Are they different styles? What are we expecting in this matchup?
I mean, from the Resolve side of things, I think they've sort of progressively gone from week 1 where they want to play through mid jungle to sort of maybe funneling some more resources down towards the bottom side if they do get going in the mid jungle. But generally speaking, their mid games have been really sort of chess-esque, where they might not necessarily pick up all of the kills, but they're picking up all the objectives, the jungle camps. They're really slowly suffocating out teams, which if they get into that position versus Nvision, I don't feel like Nvision have it in their kit to actually deal with that kind of style of play. And a world where I see Nvision win, I think they probably have to, you know, try and shut down Soph and Chimera, because that seems to me the vocal point of the early game proactivity from Resolve. So I feel like if they're slowed down, then Resolve might sort of struggle to keep up the pace, but Resolve are just so damn strong, man. It is a really hard, it is a very hard task.
I think it's a very hard task for either team, to be honest, as well. Like, I don't think one team is clearly cut above the other. I do think this is leaning towards Resolve.
Yeah.
But to be fair, I think Nvision are going to put a hell of a fight up. And this is such a fun game to open out the week on. So, guys, we're going to throw to a quick break. And when we're back with Champ Select and the game between Resolve and Nvision. See you in a second.
If you wanna find love, then you gotta have faith. The world is on your side. The world is on your side. If you wanna find love, then you got to have faith. The world will be your guide. The world will be your guide. No, I don't care. No one can tear you down. We'll lift you up. It's about here and now. Yeah, you're gonna find love. Yeah, you're gonna be alright.
paradise. Let the sparks fly into a summer night. We're going eye to eye, running to the future blind. Running to the future blind. Nothing really matters. My midnight sun, taking out the darkness, and it's only just begun. And it's only just begun. Tell me all your dreams and put them on your sleeve. We're going eye to eye, running to the future blind. Let the sparks fly into a summer night. We're going eye to eye, running to the future blind. Nothing really matters. My midnight sun, taking out the darkness, and it's only just begun. And it's only just begun.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the UK League Championship, Week 3, Day 1. And we're starting off with an absolute corker, Resolve versus Nvision. We talked about it a little bit in the pre-game, in the pre-show. Every lane is very stacked right now. I don't think there's a single player who has disappointed me so far. And this game is looking to deliver. So while we're waiting to get into Champ Select, where do we think the attention's going to be? Do we think of an individual player, or is it just, are we going to focus more on the meta picks here? What are you expecting, Jamada?
I mean, I think we focused on Resolve and the mid-jungle sort of enough. I think looking towards Nvision, I think, honestly, it would be pretty exciting to see BB Muffin on a non-utility champion again. I think he had a
we did see him on a Carly, didn't we?
Yeah. We had him on that one game of a Carly, and I think it's the first time, perhaps, since he's been in the UKLC, I've seen him on something mechanical outside of his 2019 brief stint in the top lane. So I would love to actually get, BB Muffin on something closer to that Akali, or just even, I know he loves the Yone. If he's able to be put on something like that, that would be pretty exciting too. So I think some more skill expression through the solo lanes would be really cool. But I think if they're playing into Resolve like they are, they may sort of default to this kind of, all right, BB Muffin's on Lulu duty, and then we give Spark a hyper carry to just facilitate him to try and 1v5 this game.
I wonder if we see something like a Lulu denial and then an Orianna pickup. So they ban the Lulu away, pick up the Orianna for Chimera, and that kind of forces BB away from his utility, while also giving Chimera something fairly safe in the mid lane we know he can execute. Or if they just expect this and have someone prepared, that'd be interesting. Obviously, for the side of Nvision, they do typically play through Spark. They're picking up a hyperscaling champion that can kind of take over the game as it gets later on. Yusa is a little bit more flexible. He does like to play these hyper carries, but it feels like the rest of the team don't just entirely play around Yusa. They also have their own conditions to play for. So I think for Resolve, a matter of denying Spark is probably the biggest thing in my head, where you just deny Spark from getting anything that he can take over the game on. And then from there, Nvision don't really have the ability to kind of play through BB Muffin on a support and deny the Nvision win condition we've seen so many times now.
Yeah, no. And I think even another angle Resolve could go at it. Like you say, sort of banning away the Lulu and then picking up the Orianna super early. I think that's a pretty good strategy. We could actually just see Resolve like outright do something like Lulu, Seraphine, first pick Orianna. And then all of a sudden, BB Muffin has none of those utility champions left. Outside of the sort of, you'd have to go real down in the list, things like Karma, which I don't think BB Muffin would really like to play on this patch.
Well, we are in to Champ Select for our first game of the day. It's going to be the Talia ban away, first of all, from Yuna. Denying that. See what Nvision are going to look to focus on here. The Olaf, the Pantheon left open. There goes the Pantheon, so going to be denial on that. And it might just be a lot of junglers getting denied in this game. Yeah,
listening in on onto the LEC yesterday, I think Gilius said jungle is really damn broken because almost every single game, there's about 4 to 5 jungle bans. Right now, we're on pace for that, as Olaf is now in the bin. But Lulu removed by Resolve, so that's one champion of BB Muffins that he's not going to get his hands on. And apparently the Seraphine also. So trying to think of what's still actually up. We're going to see Hecarim banned away too. So that Kai's still up, the Orianna's still up. There are definitely a couple of other picks too that Resolve could go down the route of, things like Graves too, still up. And it seems like that might just be the lock-in, as Sofa's looked pretty comfortable on it.
We have seen a lot of these Graves first picks as well as of late, so wouldn't be surprising here. We could see the Kai'Sa get first picked as well up for Yusa as a denial from Spark. We'll see what the picks are going to be here, because they take away that Graves and now Nvision. What are they going to lock in? They could, they could just lock in the likes of an Orianna and a hyper carry for BB Muffin and Spark. Going to lock in the Nidalee, so make sure they get himself a kind of counter jungling jungler, and there's the Kai'Sa. So yeah. Expected that realistically. And now Resolve, the answer's over to them. What do they want to pick up? Do they want to deny things like the Alistair from the Kai'Sa? Or are they just going to ignore that and look to pick up something else?
Yeah, I wouldn't actually mind seeing something like an Aphelios Thresh just immediately come out here, because Aphelios, as we know, is sort of risen in priority as an answer to this Kai'Sa. And then on top of that, the Thresh can deal with the Alistair lane quite well. And it seems like that is what we're just going to outright get. So pretty excited to see Yusa on this champion. He likes to pop off on it quite a lot, and we're just going to see the Syndra blind pick here for BB Muffin. So a champion which isn't based around that utility, is more based around that damage, and now it gives Nvision the room to actually ban out some mid laners and try and shrink Chimera's available champion pool.
All right, well, I'm curious to see what they decide to ban away. Obviously, the Victor's the first one, and I expect to see another mid lane ban here. What is left open? What do you think is actually going to be able to deal with BB Muffin on the Syndra?
I would expect either a Zoe ban or an Orianna ban from the side of Nvision. They could be thinking of something else, but those are the immediate 2 champions that come to mind when I think about sort of answers you could realistically take into the Syndra. Resolve banning away the Renekton, I think, is really smart, because obviously you have the Nidalee in the jungle, so removing that option away from Akkas is really good. Actually opting for the Galio ban, so more or less just a champion which can nullify Syndra's early lane pressure and then also kill pressure level 6. And then just having so much innate lane priority for the Graves can be really oppressive to have to deal with. So I think it's also a really fine ban. And Resolve, I would expect down this route probably another top lane ban if they've gone for the Renekton.
Gonna be the Camille. So expected stuff realistically there. Do you see a lot of that Camille banned away? And I think this is purely because Resolve know they're going to be blind picking top, and they expect Akkas to take the counter pick here. Curious to see what kind of supports we're going to see come out here. Obviously, with the Fresh, you don't really want to pick in the likes of the Leona or the Nautilus up, so I mean, you could just look to change it up a little bit. That's not going to be the picket. And it looks like, actually, with the Renekton and the Camille band away, they are going to still go for a support. I'm getting baited. So the Naut is going to be the lock-in.
Yeah, I think Naut still, albeit he's not as strong as his previous iteration in Season 10, he still has a fine matchup into the Thresh, and just in general, the point-and-click CC can be really high value from the ultimate. So having that set up there and available, particularly for the Syndra, just having the follow-up is really nice. And of course, the synergy with Kai'Sa is always going to be there. For Resolve now, though, I mean, I'm expecting the Orianna or the Zoe, realistically. We are going to see the Ornn lock-in, though, for the meantime for Artorias, which is really good. The Resolve are actually lacking a lot of hard engage up until this point, only really working off of Death Sentences and Gravitum ultimate from Aphelios. So I'm a big fan of the pickup, and now, like I said, I'm expecting the standard control mage from Chimera unless they've got something up their sleeve. Looks
like it will just be the Orianna. So hovering that, and I mean, it layers in really well with what they've got now. Now they've got that hard engage. You let everything in, Shockwave, and Yusa will just be able to free fire away, and there's so much tidy up on this team now. Actually really liking what Resolve put together, very well-rounded comp. And Nvision, the question is what are they missing here? What did they need to add to this team?
Yeah, I mean, they've got a little bit of frontline. More frontline definitely wouldn't hurt. They've got some engage. They've got a fairly, well, it's slightly dipping more into the magic damage side of things for the damage profile, but they're still okay with having the set there. Merc Treads could have a lot of value for Resolve now. Set doesn't necessarily deal, you know, he's got so much true damage. It depends on what kind of variation of set we see, right? Whether we get the full tank or split push based, but the set is going to be the lock-in. And only really DBL in the entirety of the league has been the only other top laner to take set into the top side. So I'm excited to see what Nvision are actually looking to do with the pick.
It's going to be quite an interesting game, actually. I think it's fairly obvious what Resolve are capable of doing. The Graves, obviously not going to be out farming his jungler as you are into the Nidalee, and that's typically why we see the Nidalee get picked up, is it's able to keep pace with that Graves and scale just as well. With the fact that you give for the Moonstone and the Staff of Flow and Water build as well on the Nidalee does also help Spark and BB Muffin by healing them and both giving them chunks of AP. Unless this is the Night Harvester full damage Nidalee. I don't think they need any extra damage though. I think the support probably suits what they put together. And over on the side of Resolve, they've got the engage from the Ornn, they've got the Fresh to keep the Aphelios alive, and they've got a big wombo combo they can just throw out. So this is very much a team that is built to fight. And I think both teams actually have good team fighting. So I think we're in for some fights. I think last week we were starved heavily of any action. This week already, just from this first game, looks like we will start out on a banger.
Yeah, I think my only concern moving into this game on the Nvision side of things is more or less the Nidalee pick into what Resolve have now ended up with. We've seen Nidalees get kind of thrown to the wayside when they're dealing with these big team fight compositions. So I think, like you called out, the Moonstone and Staff of Flowing Water build might just be the better option. Nvision are working with a lot of magic damage anyway, so I think just adding some utility to the mix would probably yield some higher value than going into the Night Harvester. Because if not, she's gonna have to be hitting all of those spears, and she's gonna have to try and find a way into fights with Orianna, Ornn, Thresh. It's scary. I wouldn't want to be going in as Nidalee into that composition.
No, it's definitely not a burst Nidalee. I feel like is kind of hinting if he rocks in a burst Nidalee here, unless he just 1v9s. But I highly doubt that. I think the utility build is going to offer a lot more value, and it also suits the Nvision playstyle because they don't actually have any kind of enchanter, quote unquote, to empower Spark on the Kai'Sa. So with the fact they got the Nidalee, they have the healing as well and the bit of peeling to work with, along with just a bunch of poke. So I think both teams are actually going to be quite interesting to see. I do think, though, if Resolve get ahead, Nvision are going to really struggle to come back into this game when, on the side of Resolve, if they do fall behind a little bit, as long as it's not a massive monumental gold lead, Resolve still do have the ability to force a fight on their terms.
Yeah, I agree. I think when you draft very stable team compositions like what Resolve have ended up with, where, the early game isn't necessarily great, but it's not terrible, right? And then you've got these very defined 1-item, 2-item power spikes, and you have all of these champions which hyperscale into the late game. Even if you fall behind a little bit, you always know you're going to have a lot of comeback mechanics inside of your champions. We are here on Summoner's Rift.
Yeah, getting ready to go into game number 1. Longstaff will be spotted out by the ball by Chimera, so you know where he is. Best thing about Orianna, you don't have to burn your ward for that invade. You can just use the ball.
Yeah, and you always kind of forget how much vision the ball does give if you're not an Orianna player. It's basically the equivalent of a ward whilst it sits there. So.
Is it not the same? Or am I completely wrong?
it looks a little bit smaller on the when we had the resolve toggle for the vision. It looked a little bit smaller than a regular ward, but I could be wrong.
Well, gave enough vision.
Yeah.
That's what counts. No shenanigans early. Both junglers will be starting up on their blue side of the rift. Means they will be clearing away from each other, so might not see any action over that first crab. That's the one advantage Graves has over Nidalee. He's actually a lot better at taking those crabs. Is Chimera just using the clockwork wind up to get a pretty decent trade versus BB. Both are going to have to burn a stack of their corrupting.
Light trades. You can often see level 1s between these two champions go either way, depending on the Orianna's footwork, or more or less also the Syndra's accuracy, depending on what kind of point of view you want to look at it from, as Chimera's going to get stunned up here.
Yep, level 2 comes through for BB Muffin, and that is the nullifying orb burnt already.
Okay. Yeah, it's not often you see that rune as, oh wow, resolve lanes across the board. Yus actually blew his summoners.
Missed what happened there. I'm assuming Longstaff landed a hook because there's an ignite down.
Yeah.
Heal was used by Spark as well, though, so just flashes up in the bot lane for Nvision.
And that's really bad news for this resolve bot lane, because it looked like the wave is actually pushing into Nvision as well. So yeah, Yus is going to miss a fair amount of XP as that wave is pushing away from him. It's not the ideal start you want from this Aphelios lane at all.
Well, Akers is... Okay, don't worry. I was about to say he's losing this trade here, but then Haymaker Shield comes in and Artorias trades equal.
Yeah. Has, oh my god, fast life. Level 3. And poor Yus was still level 1.
He's still a few minions off level 2 as well. This is a little bit of unlucky there, but fast leg with level 3 is enough to actually make Spark and Longstaff step away. They don't want to burn their flashes unnecessarily. They can just collect this wave as it crashes in. Junglers will be doing their crabs on the opposite side of the map, so as we expected, kind of avoiding each other a little bit.
Yeah, there's going to be one camp up though, because he's been able to full clear his jungle. So he's going to be a little faster on tempo, as he's probably struggling to kill the skull crab right now. He's been in the river for a little while. There you go, it just dropped now.
Can't break that shield.
No, can't break the shield. You're going to be there for a while. He's waiting the top side. I wonder if he'll wait around for that Gromp to spawn. There's one red ping on it. Whether Yuna's actually going to stick around.
Nope, gonna ping out. I guess that was actually why Spark and Longstaff also backed away. They knew that their jungler was doing topside crabs, so they didn't really have the priority in their lane and the vision of the Nidalee, while Akers is actually smashing Artorias in that fight. BB Muffin a little bit out of mana, so can't really hang about. Chimera has the mana to work with and has got biscuits, so we'll be able to restock on mana and health.
The set Ornn lane is not always too fun for the Ornn. Just generally speaking, set into tanks. Set is still going to have, generally speaking, a pretty good time into most of them. Despite the very disastrous start, particularly for the bottom lane, the CS is actually not too terrible, all things considered.
Yeah, I think the pressure they had in that bot side was actually enough to turn that around for them pretty heavily. There is a massive wave crashing, however, so Spark, providing he doesn't get chunked out and forced out, should be able to collect most of this wave and pull himself ahead a little bit over Yusa in the farm department, although Flamethrower doing a irritating amount of damage to Spark and Longstaff, which will force him away, and Vision now will be able to collect this wave.
You just snuck behind the bottom side of Resolve here.
Oh.
Okay. Well, wave a little bit too big for the Nvision bottom lane to walk forward. You can see they're holding the wave right now. Well, I'd say they're holding the wave. They're holding the wave unintentionally because they wanted to try and help their jungler. It's going to temporarily result in a bit of a freeze, but Resolve can very easily push this in. But Yuna's actually wrapping back ground.
Yeah, hasn't been seen this time around.
Yeah.
Longstaff got the flash and the ignite back up. Yusa no flash, but I think they're more interested in this wave.
Yeah. And Resolve, off that bottom lane priority, you're going to try and turn this into a dragon, which doesn't seem like Nvision have much interest in contesting at all. And this should just be pretty much a free pickup.
Yeah, really happy with that one. As BB Muffin's actually going to Trade ults with Chimera there. Nobody gets in any real trouble. Just ult for ult.
Yeah. And I really like the early No Magic Mantle pickup from Chimera too. Not only has he got the Nullifying Orb in his runes, just having that one nullifying... Nah. How have I just forgotten it? Having that little bit of MR.
No Magic Mantle, mate.
No Magic Mantle, sorry. You know, there's a lot of N's in there. N's and M's. But yeah, just having that base amount of MR is going to greatly reduce the damage that Syndra can do to you. And with the little shield and runes, it's pretty much going to make him nearly impossible to get solo kills unless he makes a really big oopsie. So his job's kind of already done in the Syndra lane, more or less.
There we go.
Just not getting solo killed at level 6. There you go. He's kind of done.
Is a Nidalee with that Syndra though, so if a Scatter of the Weak hits and a Spear follows, you know you're dead.
Oh yeah, yeah.
No cleanse, that is it. Even with that No Magic Mantle, not really going to offer enough survivability for Chimera, so he does need to be a little bit careful of that one. Has gone back to base and bought the Merc Shreds, pretty much expected in any Syndra lane. Everyone else gets to buy Boots of Lucidity, but if you're playing versus Syndra, you have to go Merc Shreds, otherwise you die.
Yeah, and not only that, just a lot of magic damage in general. And the CC from Lawless, from the Nvision side, means Merc Shreds worthwhile pick up anyway. So really not going to be complaining about that one. Also has the tier, so you can tell Chimera's really playing for the scaling here.
Yeah, quite happy to do so. BB has to be very careful here. They're lanthaning in. BB goes for the flash, caught by the dissonance. The hook is just narrowly a little bit too wide by Fastleg. BB Muffin able to escape with his life.
Yeah. And rotation looks like it's going to be turned into a Rift Herald here as well by Resolve. So neutral objective control looks to be firmly in their hands as Yusa now. He's really taken a bit of a beating here in the CS department. Fastleg's finally making his way back down. But it definitely does feel bad, especially after level 1, missing out on all of these waves.
They got that Graviton. The hook's going to hit on to Longstaff. Expected stuff there as Longstaff able to put enough distance between him and Fastleg. So very smartly played by Nvision not to get killed or caught out. But we're 8 minutes in and no first blood.
Yeah. Oh no, Jay.
Oh no. We got too excited. We thought this was going to be explosive, and it turns out both these teams are taking this quite seriously. Although it's not like there's not been action. It's not to a lack of action. Yeah. It's just the teams are respecting each other's strengths when they're at the capable of making these picks.
Yeah, the lack of health bars being depleted right now. As BB Muffin. Okay, maybe he's trying to give us the caster curse.
Well, that is the queen of destroying health bars in the Syndra. So here they come. Got that Scatter of the Weak lined up. Fastleg is going to be able to land the hook. Orbs go down, the flays there, the spears, the unleashed powers, the stuns, and everything layered in. Fastleg loses his life. First blood already picked up. Spark able to jump away. Here comes Soft, though, sliding forward. Health bars are low. Shockwave's going to land onto Yuna. They've got that collateral damage. They've got the burst. Can they land it? Soft's not going to feel the ability to pull the trigger. And it's just one quick kill for Nvision.
Yeah, I mean, it's just Nvision being a little faster on the rotation. I believe the reason why the mid-jungle of Resolve was so slow to get down here is... Ooh, hello.
Oh, hello. Taurus is going to fry out the ulti, looking for Akers, finds him with a knock-up. The brutal damage is there. And Artorias just gets a solo kill onto Akers.
Artorias saying, look, I might be down 20 CS, okay, but I'm still playing on. Just put a little bit of respect on my name. Real nice solo kill coming out from Artorias here. Gonna get a replay of the bottom side play, though, and yeah, I mean, it's just BB Muffin and Yuna being here first off the move from mid lane, and a nice Scatter of the Weak off the ultimate means that it's pretty much impossible to actually miss this stun. The spear comes in, first blood, and you'll see Soft and Chimera, they don't really get a nice enough angle to approach this fight from, and they just don't have the damage yet, in all honesty, to burn down Nvision health bars. So Nvision kind of just walk out for free. And now we see the top side as Artorias takes a lot of damage from all of the Akka's abilities, all the set abilities. And then the Brittle damage is just there.
The Brittle does so much damage. It's actually crazy how much that champion's capable of doing.
Yeah.
And he's always been like that. It's one of those things where normally they fix it, but for some reason they're quite content with Artorias. Well, with Ornn being
with Ornn, yeah.
or being an assassin. Yuna's actually taking a lot of damage from Soft, and Soft, maybe one more auto attack would be enough to get the kill, although Yuna does have the heal. Chimera needs to be a little careful versus BB Muffin, but it's just going to tell him no, walk away. And Soft's playing chicken a little bit here.
Yeah. Let's see, both these teams actually really seem like they want their hands on this dragon. We've got TP coming in from Akers. Chimera's going to TP back in once his
Taurus has actually walked his way over.
Yeah.
Blinded went onto BB Muffin. Dragon's going to get started. Fastleg flashes into the pit. Shockwave, watch for that. Already a very, very low dragon, but it's going to go for the reset, and now they're looking for that Shockwave. Yuna's going to take out Fastleg. Longstaff has been sent back in, and Nvision are just continuing on with the dragon. They will be able to secure it for themselves. They lose an extra member in a 2-for-1 fight, but Nvision do claim themselves the dragon as we look at Cloud Soul in this game.
Yeah, just a little bit disjointed from Resolve, and hopefully we get a replay of that soon, because honestly, even the approach looked like it should be relatively positive. But what I wanted to allude to before we got to this dragon fight was Nvision are actually up 1,500 gold, but we can just see Fastleg takes the Hex Flash over the wall, and it separates him from the rest of the team. So he's effectively a non-factor in this fight. It's a nice ultimate from Longstaff on the front side to knock up multiple members, and BB Muffin just tells Soft, "You're not playing League of Legends today," hits the Archie on him. Resolve in general just kind of disjointed. I think if they approached this fight from a frontal angle, they would have probably been okay with taking that fight, even at the gold disadvantage. Champions would have been able to have been utilized, but Herald dropped, yeah.
Yeah, trying to deny it here, but it will get his charge off, although Soft's the only one to pick up the gold. Chimera not in range. Chimera no Shockwave, so...
Yeah, Chimera 2 levels down.
Ooh, that's actually really big.
He's at least a 4 level down. He'll tick 10 on these creeps, but we could just hover over. Yeah, 4 level.
That's a big gold lead. That means
yeah.
there's 2 points in the ultimate for BB Muffin. He's maxed out his Q, which gives him the extra 20% damage, I want to say.
Yeah.
On the Dark Spheres.
Flat 20. Used to do true damage.
I thought that was the W, Force of Will.
I think they moved it to the W, but it was originally actually part of the Q.
Wow.
Which is a scary thing to think about.
Because I remember there was a short while where Force of Will was actually the max, just because of the true damage on it.
Well, after Q, yeah, because Syndra has always gone through phases where it's either E or W max after Q.
Yeah.
And I think once they made the E a little bit wider, and then they... whatever the upgrade is for max skilling the W, they just... Syndra players, that is, they just decided E is unanimously the better max ever since.
Well, there you have it. The extra width, the ability, I think gives you cooldown as well. Well, not on the passive, but by leveling it, you get more CDR on it. So ultimately being able to scatter the weak, more is better. BB Muffin's going to pick up a invaded blue buff, denying that from Chimera. And base his way back towards mid. Has been spotted out on that Scuttle Crab.
And Yuna's actually opted for the Nighthawks build. Interestingly enough, we were talking about it earlier. Longstaff could be in some trouble here.
Yep, flaying to hook. They do have the shockwave, but they're going to try and hold it. It is going to connect, and Longstaff with the ignite down. Here comes the collateral damage. Soft able to secure it from downtown. Chimera takes a lantern to safety. Akers is chunked again. I'm not sure how that happened. Taurus's ultimate is on cooldown, and just all the things as Fastleg. Go 1v1 versus Spark. Wow. Probably not the fight you really want.
That's a lot of damage to come out of Kaiser so early on.
Oh, here's the slam. Goes into the showstopper. Taurus has to flash. Taurus, to be honest, he deserved to lose his flash there. He was playing so greedy.
Yeah, of course. But I'm kind of surprised. Well, now at least Resolve are using the fact that Nvision committed numbers to the bottom side, trying to punish the mid lane tower HP. But normally Resolve have been pretty good at picking up on strong side, weak side. I feel like if this was last week, we would have probably seen a rotation come out to that top side of the map, either taking down Akers or securing that tower in trade. Just had members pick up Longstaff, kind of just floating around in the river.
And there is a moment where Resolve can just blow open this gold lead. Fastleg has got that lantern. BB Muffin's going to not hit anyone with the Scatter of the Week. User did burn heal a little bit questionably there. But speaking of the gold lead explosion, Taurus has started that by taking out the tier 1 tower on the top side. You can see just from your cameras now, the tier 2s, sorry, the tier 1s in bot and mid are also very, very low. If Resolve start to pick these up, suddenly there will just be a massive influx of gold.
Yeah. They can recover some of this gold deficit that's been accrued by Nvision, primarily through CS leads. Will certainly even out the playing field a little bit. As you can see the gold graph, I mean, almost peaking at 2,500 for the Nvision side.
Yeah, and then sinking back down.
Yeah. Honestly, it kind of crept up very, very silently. We certainly didn't notice it whilst it was happening, but here we go, more standing gold. He's just going to pick up this tower. And it might even, yeah, I was going to say, might just creep Resolve in front.
Just as the dragon spawns, the gold is dead even. If we look at the items as well right now, yeah. Resolve are feeling it. They got the Kraken Slayer, they got the shield bow. Chimera, the only one who's a carry without a completed item. Yus is taking a lot of damage inside the pit, and that's a big spear by Yuna. They have got the shield, the dragon is secured, and Soph is out of there. Resolve pick up the dragon scot-free.
Very dangerous game for being played by Resolve. I assume Yusa must have eaten a max range Yuna spear. That's the only reason why he could have been that low.
Unless they buffed dragon damage recently.
Oh, yeah.
Wow. Ooh. It is actually damage as well coming out as the shockwave's going to get flashed, the hook's going to get missed, and BB Muffin unleashes power for an easy kill. Yuna going low to Soph, though, and the fight is actually just really scrappy on all fronts. Soph's going pretty low here. Has the collateral damage away as Yuna uses the stopwatch, looking for the spear. Doesn't quite connect it. It is a Night Harvester Nidalee, so this is really hurting now.
Yeah, so even though, yes, there is a lot of hype around the Moonstone, stuff flowing water builds, you know, Night Harvester Nidalee when you're snowballing, you know, it feels akin to Nidalee of old, where you'd hit Runic Echoes, you'd get a Sheen or, you know, one component item for your next core, and you just start one-shotting people off Spear into just one leap and a takedown. So Yuna is definitely online at the moment. If they can keep fight Scrappy and Vision, and a Scrappy and Short trying to avoid the big team fight ultimates Resolve have, can definitely come up in their favor, as we can just see. Artillery says, all right, I'm going to pull the trigger. Nvision tried to go in underneath the tower, and Lundstaff does flash away from all of the CC, but the knock-up from Artorias keeps BB pinned underneath the tower whilst he's got aggro because he's busy taking down Fastleg. And on the bomb side, you just see Yuna and Soph, the junglers, going at it. It's a very nice stopwatch to dodge away from the collateral damage. And Soph not going to get clipped by that spear on the back end, which, honestly, I mean, he had the shield bow still up, so it wouldn't have killed him, but it would have brought him close. As next Herald going in favor of Resolve, only dropping that one dragon in terms of neutral so far. As Yuna's, well, Artorias is actually in no man's land. I was going to say Yuna might be, but Artorias
I don't think he's in no man's land. I think he's in enemy jungle right now, but that's a fantastic hook by Fastleg. And Chimera finishes up with a shockwave. Scatter the weak will land, and Artorias takes a fair amount of poke on the tail end. He'll be okay with that one.
I think Artorias needs to try and pick up some magic resist real soon. I think this inventory's primarily got armor items. So he is still taking a lot of damage from most of this Nvision lineup as, ooh, Resolve looking for him.
Yeah, BB, there's Fastleg, flash hook into the Moonlight Vigil, and Soph collects the kill with max range collateral damage. Akas is just bolting towards this team. Spear's coming over the wall, but the Rift Herald's been summoned up, and Flamethrower on Yusa means he can clear through the wave very quickly, and this may just be the tier 2 crumbling to the Resolve siege. Yuna continuing to try and poke as they may actually look for a second charge. Chimera waiting over that wall. The second charge comes out. The spears don't land, and Resolve will back away.
Yeah. And honestly, it looked like Artorias was out of position, but you know what? He obviously knows better than us. So finds his man in Longstaff. It's a very nice death sentence too, but the replay is going to start all the way up here. See the Ornament ultimate land onto BB Muffin. It's just a very nice flash from Fastleg to make sure that all of the damage is followed up on. And it results in that tier 2 being taken down off the backside, and it's just going to open up the map a lot for Resolve to just move in to either side of the jungle and just set down a really high up vision, very deep vision, to sort of make Nvision double think on face checking as time goes on, especially with the Baron up now. Face checking into the red side jungle as red team is always a very daunting task, but for now you can see a lot of vision for the red team as we get the nice little pan. You can see still firmly in control of this side of the map, but Nvision may look to change that, or Resolve, I beg your pardon, may look to change that as we get
Oh, no.
BB Muffin.
Getting teleported on by Chimera. Lands a 2-man scatter of the week. Looks for Soft, but Soft has the shield bow, has the lifesteal. Orbs are going to land. Collateral damage is going to connect, and Chimera easily picks up a shockwave. Soft finds himself a killing spree. Longstaff found out by a Taurus who knocks him up with the searing charge. Longstaff hooks onto the wall. Too close, though, so not going to be able to drag his way to safety. And the rest of the team are chasing in. Does follow up a little bit more as the Taurus gets the knock up. And Longstaff will lose his life as the Taurus secures the kill. That's 2 for none. As Fast Legs coming in with a hook. Here comes the Call of the Forge God. Not going to hit anybody.
Yeah, this could be Baron, Jake. Honestly, Resolve could look to turn this into a Baron.
One level lead onto Soft. So the Smite said he's doing a marginal extra bit of damage. Fast Leg waiting to play Interrupt here. A Spark lands one. Here comes Fast Leg. Hex flashes out. The knock-up lands on to one. Akers in the middle of the pit, taking so much damage. Big shield from the Haymaker. Able to flash away to safety. Akers is out of there. Did a massive chunk as Big Muffin comes in. Instantly hooked. BB flashes. Bleeby's down. And Yusa continues the chase after Spark. He's got the kill your guns. And he's going to kill Spark. Spark's able to get away for the moment as Yuna might just be next off on the menu. And Yusa is doing so much work. 1v2. The man is coming out alive as he's chasing Yuna down. Yuna will be able to run for a little bit, but not for too much longer as he lands a short-range spear. The rest of the team are coming in, and Notorious will find Spark on the interrupt. Meanwhile, back in the bot lane, Yuna lands a spear onto Fast Leg. He's just buying time, but ultimately, the shutdown's there for Yusa, and the Dragon will get started. The biggest thing about that is Nvision had their deaths staggered massively.
Yeah. Real big staggered deaths here. I'm not sure what kind of repercussions we could see off the back of it, as I imagine a Resolve probably want to reset relatively soon. We are going to get a replay of this. I'm curious to see where it starts. Looks like the answer's going to be right out front of the Baron. So Fast Leg just gets a nice flank angle. Artorias on the bottom side buys a lot of time dealing with Yuna and Spark. And Akers on the top side, honestly, just keeping all of Resolve busy inside of the pit. It's actually enough work to draw Resolve off of the Baron. But I mean, BB Muffin is just... no words, really. As we may be well and truly past the 200 years portion of the League of Legends timeline with Aphelios, but when he does have those guns, red and white guns, it does bring you back a little bit.
Chevroom and Chakram is it just is such a...
The time period, Jake, of 200 years may be over, but I'm telling you, he still is capable of making you feel like it's not. As looking at his items, he's actually got the Rune Ends and the Kraken Slayer finished up now, so he is definitely online.
Yeah, no Gale Force. This is full belief in his team to keep him alive. Yeah. He does have the Thresh.
And I think it's fine, though. It's fine to go this build. When you've got the Thresh, you've got the Orion to buy you space and the shielding. You've got the front line of Ornn. Even the smoke screen can be really oppressive in just creating rooms where...
Oh, no.
Borders. That's a nice Graviton ultimate. Wow.
It was, but it didn't quite hit, and Nvision are actually about in the area. Resolve just get the inside track onto mid lane, and Nvision are like, hold on, this isn't right. So they're getting forced away.
This is my side of the map. What's going on here? So, I mean, Nvision could turn this into something of a flank here. Yuna and Akers on the backside.
Oh, Yusa's getting jumped on instantly. Everything layered in, slammed under the tower. And BB Muffin collects the shutdown. So far, it's a 1-for-1. Fast Leg flashes over the spear. Yuna takes a lot of damage, and that's the hook. That's the double kill. Chimera holding the shockwave as well. They may have killed Yusa, but Resolve got their revenge.
Yeah, they've killed 180 carry, but Graves is still alive. That's the important thing. Got that shield bow, got the collector in hand. He is so strong right now, and Resolve looking like they want to just take down this inhib. And then a shockwave onto 2.
That was a big shockwave as well, and Soft should just be able to pick these kills up nice and easy. Akers in the middle of the team, not going to be able to do too much here. Soft secures himself another double kill in a row. And that will be the inhibitor crumbling in the mid lane as Taurus makes sure it's taken out.
And yeah, this is a really nice push from Resolve. I mean, very creative from Nvision to try and turn that into something, taking down the Aphelios so early in the fight. You'll see Longstaff just flashes on top of him, gets the root down, the ultimate, and that's all it really takes once Akers gets him back underneath the tower. As cut out the replay, I thought we was going to have some action, but the action is just Resolve starting up the Baron. Fast back.
going to get them very, very quickly as they do find a hook on 2-1. Spark able to slide back. Gale forced away to safety as well. The call of the forward squad's been thrown out. Isn't going to hit onto Spark. Baron thwarted for now, but they could just look to start it up again. Health bars and mana bars are a tad low, though, and with Nvision back on the map, it looks like Resolve are just going to step away. Spark played that very well to survive.
Yeah, I mean, you know, on the opposite side, you could also say Resolve fast leg, then Artorias looked a little bit disjointed, but we've got the replay on our screen. And we can just see the flanker in Yuna just taken down by the CC of Resolve, and very nice shockwave from Chimera. Just Spark and Steve Muffin not respecting the fact the ball can still come out. It doesn't matter if it's on the floor or not. Just not able to react fast enough.
I feel like we've had more kills in this game than we did all last week.
Oh, it certainly feels like that.
I don't think that's factually correct, but we could potentially have a game today. Some of our games did not have a lot of action.
Yeah. We're, you know, Resolve and Nvision, they're treating us a little bit, you know. They heard our cries, our pain last week.
I think the big thing as well is these two teams are very close in the standings. There's only 1 point that separates them. And for the side of Nvision, even though they're on the back foot right now, they are still putting up a fight. They are still not out of this game. They do need to be a little bit careful. Longstaff and BB Muffin have been liable to getting caught out.
Yeah, just a little bit. Longstaff in particular, it's also not just a this game thing. He's certainly had some issues in previous games too, where he's just not really respecting his weak side as our Nvision. All right, well, looks like
they're on a ward.
Trade. Yeah, I mean, they're on a ward. Oh, no.
Is this the trade?
Oh, no.
I don't think this is it. They're going to take it quick, sure, but this is a very suboptimal trade. Their base might just get killed before they can get back. The Baron recalls are coming in. The towers are already going to be dead.
Not
Here's the call of the Force God. There's the three-man shockwave. Everybody's going to get knocked up at the moment. Longstaff in the middle. They do find themselves one, and that is the shutdown onto Spark. The rest of the team are chasing in. Spark wasn't hit by the shockwave, so he's still pretty healthy. Yuna takes a hook from Fastlane. The Moonlight Vigil comes in. There's the slow. There's the shield from Akers. There's the hook to follow, and Spark continues to free fire away. Caught out by the hook for the moment as he jumps in onto Yusa. Uses the stopwatch. Tries to Gale Force for the moment. Chimera gets flashed onto, and Spark gets himself a double kill. Chimera takes him down narrowly. Open Nexus, and Resolve retreat with their tails between their legs, but not before they take a dragon.
Oh, Jake, what? Oh, Nvision, that is the worst trade in the history of trades. I mean, okay, great. We've removed Baron off the face of the map, right? Cool. Resolve can no longer get that buff and end the game. But now you have an open Nexus and you're down almost 4,000 gold. And honestly, if Artorias' ultimate wasn't interrupted there, that's just game. 3-man Shockwave into a 3-man Ornn ultimate, that's it. Onto some key carries to BB Muffin and Yuna. The game would have just been over there. Yuna just stepping too far forward, disrespecting the death sentence. And it's a nice ultimate from Akers to sort of try and disrupt the retreat from Resolve, but it's not quite enough. And Spark tries some heroics onto Yusa, and he is eventually going to take him down. But the end result is still your base is open. Resolve pick up the Cloud Soul, and I mean, the Baron buff. Who still has the Baron buff? Longstaff, BB Muffin. I actually think that nullifying orb is what saved Chimera's life. Oh yeah, definitely. It actually soaked up so much of the queue. Remember, there's a collector on that Kai'Sa. That actually probably would have been Chimera going down, and it might have been a very different state of that fight where they could have taken some towers and maybe an inhibitor, but ultimately they have now got super minions pushing in bot and mid. Someone has to go deal with this bot wave, and Resolve are just taking this opportunity to push into the Baron team. BB Muffin's going to try and clear this wave out, but Spark is so liable to getting jumped onto. Fast leg lands a hook, and Longstaff is chunked. Way too hard to be able to do anything else here. Going to recall and just rejoin the siege, but this is feeling really, really rough for Nvision. They're going to have to make a big play once again to save the day as the call of the forward squad comes down. Big scatter the week. Everybody's interrupted. The health bars are low. Spark onto that backline. Instantly knocked up for the moment to get themselves a shutdown onto BB Muffin. Yus is doing so much work, but Spark will take him down. Resolve lose 2. Yeah, Nvision just find the key CC onto so many members. I think Longstaff hit a 5-man knockup off the ultimate, and we just see Spark go wild in the backline. And okay, Nvision, they find some kind of breathing room, buying whatever time they do have left. they can find some more miracle engages like that. I'm curious to see what started the fight. Was it just a scat of the week? A nice angle from BB Muffin? I think the answer is yes. Wow. 4-man into just straight bounce house from the side of Nvision. And look at Yusa in the middle of all of them. See how much damage he does before he goes down. That's so scary as well.
Got the Kraken Slayer upgraded from the Ornn. Got a GA that was burnt in that fight as well. Versus Spark is getting close towards that Infinity Edge. The inhibitors have respawned.
Yes.
The supers pushing in the side lanes aren't going to be a problem. Baron up in 2 minutes. Elder Dragon up in 3 minutes, though.
Yeah. It's going to be a tough one, but I've got to say, because Yusa's opted into this Guardian Angel build, we're at the point where Spark is technically approaching a 2-item surplus. I'm not saying that GA isn't necessarily an item, but it's not, you know, it's not an
Well,
item.
now it's on cooldown. It's kind of like half an item.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just a stat stick, but it doesn't have any like real use for what it was picked up for. Spark quite happy to collect all these waves that are walking into him. Yuna looking for a cheeky spear onto a Taurus, although Taurus at this point has finally got some magic resist. It's got the Zeke's Convergence finished up.
Oh yeah.
You know, I think that's the first time I've seen it in the season 11.
Yeah, they actually changed it. I can't quite recall exactly what it does. It's in functionality, it's almost the same, but the numbers it actually does are slightly different.
Yeah. Either way, that plus the Knight's Vow on him, they are playing for Yusa.
Yeah, who'd have thought? I wouldn't mind seeing them put these supportive items on Soft. I think he's, well, I guess the gold difference isn't too crazy, and honestly, Yusa's been putting out a lot of damage.
Yeah.
Soft probably doesn't need it anyway.
Soft's that survivability. It's like the pseudo tank grade.
Yeah.
Has he got a Bloodthirster finished up? No. Okay, so he won't collect Infinity Edge.
That BF sword's probably working towards it. Kind of surprised though that we didn't see the BT build.
What is the Immortal Shield Bow upgrade actually? I don't know. Can the observer quickly toggle over?
It's going to be like
Blood Ward.
Blood Ward.
God, that's edgy. God, that's so edgy.
Okay, wait. Let's derail the conversation a bit whilst we wait for a resolve to get some nice stuff. As you can see, Nvision pretty much just strangled out entirely. Can you remember what the Kraken Slayer upgrade's called? Real quick.
It's called Wormfallen or Wormfallen Sacrifice, I think.
All right,
is the full name.
Yeah, that's it.
It's a long one.
Yeah,
yes.
Yeah. There you go. One on the board.
I'm learning them. Is Luden still Luden Tempest? Actually, I'm gonna have to hold that.
Well,
Of course, it's going in. BB Muffin's gonna get knocked up, but that is it. Engage Houston. As long as they can disengage from this, they should be okay. But that's a massive amount of damage coming out from Houston. He throws out the Moonlight Vigil. Hook's going to land onto Longstaff. BB and Spark just 2 chunked already. They're unable to fight. The heel's been thrown down. And Fastleg looking for another hook. Not going to quite get it. Here comes the slam from Akers. And there's the double kill to follow. 3 members of Nvision standing. 2 of which have no health and need to retreat. But the open Nexus could just be fallen right here to resolve. They forced in, and now it is on them to get this turnaround. They're looking at 4-1. Soft is going to jump in. Spark's looking for Chimera, able to get it. Fastlight's going to go down. Spark flashes forward, gets himself the double kill. The supercharged invisibility, not quite enough. And Yusa flashes forward to secure the final kill and to secure the Nexus. Resolve, take the win.
Resolve finally claiming their win over Nvision. That's the wrong emblem, but that's fine.
Rubbing salt in the wound.
Rubbing salt in the wound. That is just going to be Resolve taking down Nvision. And honestly, I think, like we said, we expected Resolve to most likely take this win in most worlds. But Nvision, even after falling behind after a pretty successful early game, shutting down multiple members of the Resolve lineup, they still tried to swing back. You know, they found, albeit a very curious Baron call, they still took the Baron off the map. They tried to make something of what was realistically nothing left. But Resolve, honestly, still looking a little bit too clean, playing the map out way better than most of the teams in UKLC, perhaps probably better than all of the teams in UKLC. And they close out with relative ease.
Honestly, week 3 already looking to deliver. Thank God we're back to that action. Guys, we're going to take a quick breather here and we'll be back with our post game. We're going to do an interview and Jamada's going to start drawing on your screen. So we'll see you in a second.
but that's where I wanna be. And I feel free for the first time. And I feel free for the first time. For the first time. For the first time. For the first time. And I feel free for the first time. And I feel free for the first time. Give me a sign of something. I could really use it right now. Give me a sign of nothing. I'll be looking to the clouds. For the first time. For the first time. For the first time. And I feel free for the first time. And I feel free for the first time. For the first time. For the first time.
Hands up, generation, Nintendo education, other kinds of wealth. We found this animation, luck was a conversation, she's on a shelf. People say we are just what we do. It's just a stage. So we go on, and the lights are so strong. Just have to make this sound. We've broken ground, it's a countdown.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the UKLC. We're coming hot off a win for Resolve over Nvision, as much as the graphic tried to tell us otherwise. We do have a little drawing board, but I think maybe first, actually, we'll just bring Chimera in. He's ready to go. He's in the call. So, Chimera, how are you doing, mate? You all right?
Yeah, not bad. That was not the best quality game, but, you know, it happens. We took the win, so happy with that at least.
You were saying to us in the break, you were like, I hope that was a good game to watch because it wasn't a good game to play.
Yeah.
What was going on in the comms in that game then?
I mean, we had a pretty rough week of scrims. Like, we were probably playing at our like skill floor, and it really showed this game. Like, we were not as decisive as we were in other weeks. We were slow to set up. We were indecisive. It was overall just a frustrating one to play because we were just not on the same page, or even just on any page. But yeah, we took the win in the end, which we were really happy with. But it was yeah, slipping back to old habits, I guess.
Yeah. Jamada? No?
No. I mean, oh yeah, sorry, I forget. We normally Okay, so Chimera obviously has to speak of you lot out of outside of UKLC settings, but I do want to ask you because I don't think I've asked any of the Resolve guys. Assuming you guys make it all the way, you go to playoffs. What teams are you actually expecting to join you? Because I don't think we've asked this question
From the UKLC?
in UKLC. Who are you expecting will be actually in playoffs? Come the end of split, seeing how the standings are at the moment and how teams are playing.
Obviously, we're like Resolve. We're kind of taking things one step at a time, so we've not really looked that far yet. But from teams we played against, and M&M looked decent in their first game against us, but I think that was more again like we were just new team like coming together. But over the past few weeks, they have grown a lot. I think Barrage have good like fundamentals. They actually know that where they want to contest and actually contest the mid-prio and the choke setups around Dragon. They're just not executing them properly. So I'm hoping to see Barrage step up a bit. And Nvision they have like, I think they have pretty decent players. I think Muffin's pretty good. He obviously played well this game, but I don't think they're quite using like they're not really got their fundamentals fully down yet. So I think they'll be a team. So probably one of those three teams. London have like decent players, but I think they have like a little bit to go. So that's what I'd probably expect.
Interesting. Well, Chimera, I'd love to have a further chat with you and talk a little bit more about that, but we do have to get on. So congratulations on your win and good luck with your games tomorrow. Hope to speak to you soon.
Appreciate that. Thanks very much.
And for you guys here, we have Jamada getting ready to draw all over your screens. He's been on paint all weekend, so talk us through this action.
I swear, Jake, honestly. Right, so here's the setup. We've got Resolve currently in front of the Dragon. Chimera has to reset because he's out of mana. That's going to end up meaning that Nvision in the mid lane, they also have mid lane priority. We've got Yuno approaching from this angle, and we've got the bottom lane of Nvision approaching from this angle. Now, this is a relatively drawn-out fight, if memory serves me correct. But we're going to see Resolve actually get forced out, especially because of this TP2 here from Akaz. It just means that all of a sudden Resolve have to retreat from the river, and they're now sort of on the back foot in positioning. Now, Fastleg's already gone over the wall. So before Fastleg decided to take a little trip, this actually could have been a positive outcome fight for Resolve if they're able to just sort of frontal approach. They let the Ornn ultimate come through from behind back into a knock-up. But we see Fastleg end up in the pit because of a Hex Flash. And from this point, now all of a sudden, it's kind of a fight, I would say on two fronts, but it's just a fight where Nvision can just straight up murder the support, not get punished for it, and then they can turn the fight onto whoever decides to approach from this side from Resolve. So we'll get the clip playing, and you'll see they just go, okay, well, Fastleg has to die, he's in the pit, and Fastleg gets a real nice knock-up onto multiple members. BB Muffin just pretty much presses his keys on soft, and from that point, the fight's kind of routed. Nvision are almost always going to get the Dragon. They lose Longstaff on the top side, but it doesn't really mean a whole bunch. And what could have probably been a positive fight from the side of Resolve, had they actually just sort of played front to back, ends up being a negative one because they end up splitting the approach because of the Hex Flash from Fastleg.
Yeah, there were a lot of fights. I was curious what fight you were going to go into.
Yeah, there was quite a few. I agree, but this one was kind of interesting because Nvision had more gold in this moment. They're up about 1,500 gold.
Yeah,
but Resolve have the team fighting composition, and they kind of had a favorite position going into the Dragon fight, but they gave it up and they lost. So I thought it was kind of interesting to highlight.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it did feel like it could have been anyone's game, but ultimately Resolve remain undefeated, 5-0 now. But we got two teams coming up who are tied after the break. It's London versus M&M. Who's going to pull ahead and who's going to fall behind? We'll find out in a second. See you then.